Hello there, guys. So we are going to talk about Chicago today, and let's dive right into it. Let's try to do a little bit more of a sectioned talk. So I am going to break it down into different sections so it's a bit more organized. So we can start off with the cost of living here. Cost of living in Chicago is, I would honestly say, in my opinion, medium cost of living compared to the rest of the country. The rent isn't too expensive generally, even on the north side. You can find something in the mid thousands, but the taxes here make it medium to medium high cost of living. So it's a pretty good city economically, has a robust job market, really big finance market, especially on derivatives. So you can make a lot of money here, and it honestly doesn't cost that much to live here. I would recommend renting for the first year or two and seeing the areas you like. So move on to job market. Oh, before we move on to that, I mean, you're gonna want to find areas near train stations, public transport's over here. So if you want to take public transit, you're gonna want to definitely live. I would generally recommend living on the north side, Lakeview, Lincoln Park, Logan Square is really, really nice. Probably the best area, just because it's getting so developed and so hip. Um, these areas are really nice. You're gonna want to, if you don't want a car, be at one of the train stations that you could easily locate by just searching in this area. So, like, here's the subway station. This is the Brown Line. Brown Line's really nice compared to the Blue Line runs up and down. And I should probably pull up a map here, but we'll get into this afterwards. Here's just a breakdown of the city that I had, just to give you a little sneak peek of how the city looks. But going back here, Streeterville's really nice. Living in downtown, I'd recommend as well. There's some cities on the west side, but you generally want to stay up here on the north side, like I said. All right, so moving on to job market. Um, Big finance here in downtown. That is the most robust industry. Average salaries are going to be around, let's say, 80 to 90,000 for a finance graduate. Maybe a bit lower than that starting out, but I would say salaries here are definitely above average in general. And unemployment's low in this area. So now let's move on to the the crime in these areas. So west side, south side, especially here, like the Garfield area, anything west over here, um, you're definitely going to want to avoid these areas. South side is a no-go zone for living. Englewood, not good. You want to stay towards the north side if you're living in the city. The northern suburbs are also really nice. So if you can draw a red line from here all the way to the south side, you don't want to be in this general vicinity. Up here in the north side or the northwest is very good. Park Ridge is super nice. Niles, if you want to live in the suburbs, Skokie, very good areas. And then let's move on to the lifestyle and culture. Nightlife here, super huge. One of the best areas for nightlife. This is the third largest city in the country. So if you wanted to come here to enjoy bars, restaurants, awesome museums, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love being here. Social scene, very good, very diverse area if you were looking for that. and just so many things to do if you want city life. All sorts of attractions. And it's there's a big community here because these cities, I forgot to mention that the cities here are so walkable. You have a better sense of community on top of the public transit. You know, you can run into people walking around. It's pretty dense in terms of the neighborhoods. If even if we just drop down here, I mean Logan Square is not a great example, but you could see the density and kind of tell how things are. Very good community vibe. All right, climate and weather. You are going to experience very hot summers and very cold winters and short springs and falls. Unfortunately, the weather here is not the greatest. It's very bipolar and there's very few perfect days to be outside. But that's the trade-off, and that's why the cost of living here is a little bit cheaper. You have recreation like the lakes, to go to the beach in the summer, which is nice. It's basically an ocean at this point with how big the lakes are. Lake Michigan in particular. And also, there's really not, besides maybe some flash flooding, there's no natural disaster risk. The chance of a tornado is very low. That would be the only thing. You're basically going to run into no natural disaster risks here, so that's great. Transportation and traffic. I've already mentioned the robust lines here, so let's take a look. So you got the purple line, red line is more of a throughout the entire city line. And then you got like things like the brown line here, which are run through the nicest neighborhoods. If you can live along one of these, the brown line is a very good route to take. You got the blue line. Blue line goes all the way to the airport. And yeah, this is kind of the system at a glance. And you're probably going to want to take them because the traffic here is extremely brutal. Closer to the city you get, traffic here is really bad, which is one of the downsides I would say of Chicago is you're going to be sitting in traffic a lot if you decide to take a car. Um, I personally would still take a car personally because I'm not a massive fan of public transit, but if you can bear just some inconveniences, public transit is the way to go, especially if you can line it up with your commute to work. If you can just take a bus, I mean, if you can just take public transit for that, that's fantastic. Education in schools, Chicago's very, very good when it comes to the school system. They have excellent schools here, excellent private schools. I would say overall you have no problems. You got the University of Chicago, and it's just most places you go are going to be good here when it comes to schools. This is a very good city for taking your kids or going to college yourself. Very, very good. Hospitals, clinics, really good system. This is a more of a welcoming system in terms of healthcare and healthcare access. I'd rather say, and hospitals are great here, and there's great mental health facilities. Their fitness and wellness options are fantastic here. I mean, the city is fairly well run in that regard in terms of support, especially with people that are struggling. Recreation and things to do. This is a big thing here. Chicago, being kind of a concrete jungle, integrates parks extremely well. You will find green parks almost everywhere. Even here in downtown, if you just look on the map, there's parks everywhere. I mean, they integrate green spaces very well into the city. You have a lot of parks. So and of course you have, well, like in this image, you have entertainment like that, like concerts, and there's much to do. So overall, let's take on the city is it's a very it's basically a very well-rounded city in my opinion. The entertainment's great. The lifestyle you can have here is great. You can really live a true city life here, just out in the big city in the United States, and it's a very unique experience. The architecture I forgot to mention is super amazing here. Some of these buildings, I don't have any much pulled up, but some of these buildings here are just absolutely beautiful, and just a very unique experience if you're able to hang around downtown. It's a beautiful city. I mean, you can see some of the modern architecture here, but it's beautiful. And I feel like the city would be best for somebody that's looking for city life that doesn't have an issue with cold winters and is not looking for a super pretentious or super expensive city to live in. So Midwest friendliness as well is big here, and you get to just experience a life that's very could be very hectic or could be very docile depending on how you want to live it. It's not a super in your face city. So overall, very chill and good vibes here. The only thing that um, kind of makes me not want to recommend this city is the crime here. The crime here is very bad and getting worse. Even when it comes to the north side, you will see stuff and you will hear friends that are victims of crime. So there's a lot of violent and petty crime here. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want, if you're cool with that, if you can handle yourself, and as adults we can all manage. So if you can, you just gotta keep that in mind if you want to move here. So overall, very good city, excellent place to visit as well, and it's it's one of it's one of the best cities in the United States, in my opinion. I mean, it's just so cool, especially when it comes to the architecture and things it has to offer. And it's going to be cheaper than any of the coastal cities like LA or New York City. So not a bad spot, especially if you're in like the finance sector. But it has good jobs in all the other sectors as well. It's just finance is the main concentration. So. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully, it's improving a bit. And I'll see you guys for a review of a new city or maybe a revised review of an existing city I've already reviewed. So appreciate that. Appreciate the support and everybody tuning in. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks.